Much has been documented about Hitler's public life and his actions, but details about his private life and habits are less known. Did you know that Hitler had close friends? And what if I told you that one of his best friends was a Jewish girl he met by chance? It seems unlikely, doesn't it? Yet it's true. Today I will tell you about the tragic story of Adolf Hitler's favorite girl. Look at this photo. You probably recognize one of the people in it. The smiling man hugging a child is Adolf Hitler. The girl in his arms is Rosa Bernila Niño, who was 6 years old at the time. The photo was taken in 1933 by Heinrich Hoffmann, measuring 30 by 24 centimeters. And believe it or not, in November 2018, this photograph sold for $11,520 at an auction in the United States. But what makes this photo so valuable? Adolf Hitler is one of the most infamous characters in history. Unfortunately, he is remembered as one of the most evil individuals who ever lived. Mentioning his name or anything associated with him still evokes disgust in many parts of the world to this day. Advocating for his discriminatory and authoritarian regime, Nazism, is considered a crime in most countries. However, there was a time when the Führer was admired as an example of leadership. Yet much of this prestige was the result of intense propaganda mounted by him and his followers to gain the trust of the German people and the international community. Hitler wanted to appear trustworthy, someone of good character with noble intentions. Interestingly, during this time, many people were so dazzled by this fabricated image of Hitler that he was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Yes, the man who was one of the main responsible for the start of the biggest world war nearly received a peace prize. Fortunately, he did not win, but this fact is still cited by critics of the prize to this day. Rosa Bernila Niño was born in Dortmund, Germany on April 20th, 1926. The only child of a doctor who died before her birth, her mother, Caroline, a nurse, decided to move to Munich after Bernile's birth in search of better opportunities. As Bernile grew up, the Nazi movement began to gain strength in Germany, with the Nazi Party led by Adolf Hitler rising to power. Bernile's life changed on Hitler's birthday in 1933, also on April 20th, when Caroline decided to take her daughter to Hitler's mansion in the Alps. A large crowd gathered at the entrance, hoping to greet the leader and catch a glimpse of him. During the visit, Hitler came out to thank those present and noticed Bernile among the crowd. Upon talking to her, he discovered that they shared the same birthday, which piqued his interest. Hitler then invited Bernile and her mother to his residence to continue the conversation. Charmed by the girl's education and sincerity, this encounter was immortalized in the photograph that would later be sold for a significant amount at an auction. Hitler and Bernile agreed to keep in touch, and he instructed that all her letters be delivered directly to him. This began a correspondence that would last for years, with letters written by the girl, often with the help of her mother. Bernile affectionately referred to Hitler as Uncle Hitler and shared details of her daily life while inquiring about his. In addition to Hitler, Wilhelm Bruckner, one of the Führer's closest aides, also kept correspondence with Bernile. Records from the time indicate that Bernile wrote at least 17 letters to Hitler and Bruckner, although the exact number might be higher, as some correspondence may have been lost or never delivered. Over time, Hitler's regime in Germany began to reveal its true nature. The Führer, once seen as a model of leadership, proved to be an illusion. Nazism exposed its darkest side through anti-Semitic attitudes, radicalization of speeches, restriction of freedom of thought and expression, and signs of an imminent war with neighboring countries. The radicalization increased concerns about Hitler's security, fearing that he could be a target of espionage, sabotage, or even an assassination attempt, something that would indeed happen later during World War II and would become known as a failed attempt, as Hitler survived. During these investigations, the name of Bernile, Hitler's favorite little girl, came to light. It was questioned how a child could pose a risk to the Führer. It was then discovered that Bernile had Jewish ancestry. As we know, the Nazi regime abhorred Jews, considering them traitors and inferior. Despite this, Hitler had genuine affection for the girl. Even disliking Jews, he continued to write and receive letters from Bernile for about 5 years. However, the special attention given to Bernile caused envy among some people within the party. In 1938, one of his secretaries, Martin Bormann, who also advised Hitler on how to maintain his public image, recommended that he cut off any communication with the girl, arguing that it could be seen as a major contradiction and poorly received by followers of Nazism. After reflection, Hitler decided to follow Bormann's advice. Heinrich Hoffmann, the photographer who captured the famous image and accompanied many of the Führer's moments, reported that Hitler was visibly upset by the decision. According to Hoffmann, Hitler expressed his frustration by saying, "Some people really have a special talent for ruining my joys," highlighting his disappointment. Thus, Bernile was forbidden to visit her friend, and the contact between them was terminated. Years after the war, Heinrich Hoffmann published a book in 1955 that detailed the relationship between Hitler and the girl of Jewish origin. The title of the book, Hitler Was My Friend, makes an ironic allusion to the friendship between them, highlighting the peculiarity of someone during the Nazi regime considering Hitler as a genuine friend, a feeling that was mutual. The interruption of contact with Bernile occurred in 1938, a year before the start of World War II. This separation was not related to the onset of the conflict, but marks possibly the last moment when Hitler showed his more affectionate and human side. As for Bernile's fate after losing contact with Hitler, the outcome is tragic. During her childhood, she contracted poliomyelitis, a viral disease that affects the central nervous system system and can lead to paralysis, including of vital organs like the heart. At that time, without available vaccines, a diagnosis of polio was almost a death sentence. Bernile succumbed to complications of the disease and died in October 1943 at the age of 17 in a Munich hospital, 2 years before the end of the war and Hitler's suicide. Rumors suggest that Hitler never knew of the girl's fate, but this information was never confirmed and remains in the realm of speculation. However, the story of Bernile and her relationship with Hitler was preserved and came to light thanks to the iconic photo and the exchanged letters, which were carefully preserved over the years.